My name is Optimus Prime. We are autonomous robotic organisms, but you can call us Autobots.
I say we take off and nuke the entire site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
I want you to rest well, and a month from now, this Hollywood picture is gonna give you what you want. I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Inside Your Screen podcast. This is our bite-sized episode where we're talking all things Killing Eve. I have with me, as always, Mr. Brendan Horgan. Hello, sir. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you, Tony. How are you?
I'm good. I've got one thing to say to you, Brendan.
Say it, Tony.
Do you know what I smell like?
Oh,
I
power.
smell like power. Yes, we're here to discuss Killing Eve Season 3, Episode 3, Meetings Have Biscuits. So this is effectively, really, let's get down to the meat and bones. Villanelle and Eve meet.
Yeah.
Third episode in, and they've met now.
And fought.
And fought, yeah. The kiss that was heard around every double-decker bus in London. Villanelle and Eve met on the top of a double-decker bus. Eve went straight in for an attack, which was deftly sideswiped by Villanelle. But then Eve kissed her in a kind of maybe, could have been just a kind of defensive strategy, and then proceeded to headbutt her.
Yeah.
To kind of gain the upper hand in that. There's obviously a lot more stuff that kind of went on in this episode. But Brendan, I just want to get your general opinion. What did you think overall?
I'm a bit on the fence on this one.
Ooh.
Yeah. First episode I didn't like. I did.
No, you like this is actually quite funny. You've gone from really liking it to yeah.
And this episode I was a bit I was a bit kind of until I did like the end. I wasn't expecting the fight. I wasn't expecting Eve and Villanelle to meet so soon in the series.
There was quite a lot of exposition with regards to the accountant and how we got to the accountant, which I thought this episode kind of sagged in the middle with all that kind of, skullduggery of like trying to find the accountant. And then when we found him, obviously the action kind of came in spades towards the end. But yeah, sorry, Brendan.
Yeah, you've pretty much summed it up perfectly. That it was the start. It was a slow burner, much like last week, but it all kind of kicked off, as you said, at the end when Carolyn and what's Carolyn's new assistant called?
Is it Lou? Not Lou. Mo.
When they kind of met the accountant, and then obviously Villanelle kind of pulled up on the bike, dressed up as the policewoman, and you had that moment of has she killed Carolyn?
Yeah.
It was so. I don't know about you, but I knew the minute that she pulled up that Carolyn isn't going to die, and they're going to make it out for maybe 30 seconds. I do remember at that point, I actually checked. I did hit the button on my remote to see how long was left in the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had a feeling they might leave that on a cliffhanger of who's dead. Is Carolyn dead? But the minute I hit the remote, I was like, right, Carolyn's 100% not dead. There's about 10 minutes left to go in this episode, and she's not dead.
Yeah, it was a bit of a red herring. But do you think, it's relying on fans knowing the show likes to tease us when it comes to see Villanelle, donning any kind of outfit, because you basically know she's going to kill someone. But with the kind of death of Kenny from the first episode, do you think they were relying on the fact that it's like, all gloves are off in the season and anyone can die in a kind of Game of Thrones type of way? Or, as you said, like you had no kind of, you knew instantly that she was alive?
As I said, I did hit the button on my remote. I'm not going to lie. So when she shoots the bullet or shoots the gun, I instantly hit the button on my remote to see how long was left. Because I thought, is this just going to go straight to the credits now, and that's the end of the episode? But no. So the minute I saw there was 10 minutes left of the episode, I was like, she's not dead. Exactly that. They've tried to pull a fast one on us there. The swerve, their sides pulled the swerve on us, and yeah, she's not dead. I knew straight away. So yeah, because of it was purely based on how long was left in the episode.
Yeah, I mean, I actually really enjoyed this episode. So I'm kind of going the reverse of you now. I didn't enjoy the first one. I was kind of on the fence with the second one. Apart from the exposition regarding the accountant in this episode, like this one's again, like we start off in, is it Barcelona? I think she's at where she kills the woman
Andalusia
with the tuning fork. Yeah, that's it, Andalusia. Where she kills the kind of keyboards player or whatever she is, kind of thing, with a kind of tuning fork, and then you have this really Villanelle type moment where she hears a baby cry, she goes upstairs or wherever, and she sees the kind of nanny with the baby, and then as soon as she points the tuning fork at the baby, the nanny starts going, oh no no, but then like when she turns it back to her, and there's this real kind of play off, and it was just a classic Villanelle sort of moment. And once again, goes to show her deadly. Because there was a moment where I was thinking, "Ooh, is she gonna kill the baby? Could this be the kind of moment where we kind of really turn against Villanelle?" But no, of course she doesn't. She just takes the baby. And the scene with her and Dasha when they're in a kind of like food court or wherever of outside, eating al fresco, and they Dasha just picks up the baby and just puts it in the garbage trash can.
Oh, yeah, that's awful. That was hilarious.
And then once again,
really good.
Yeah, you've got the kind of physical comedy of like, all the people in the background, like out of focus, like having this commotion while they're just naturally chatting away. Like this is just another day for them. This is like Tuesday for them. So that's something that I really enjoyed. As I said, we then get into the kind of espionage part, or the legwork really, with the exposition of like trying to find the accountant of 12.
They did the usual thing that I don't like of the time skip. So one of my issues I remember of the last episode was, they haven't set up the team yet. They're not a team going. Yeah. And they just skipped that entire thing out. It was, right, we're having a meeting with now Carolyn and Eve and the newspaper, the Bitter Pill guys. And we're now a team. They just literally... They skipped out in between. There was no kind of... They hinted at it last week, but there was no talk of it. But now, within 5 minutes, they're a team.
Yeah, I'm not entirely convinced. Would an MI6, agent, someone of British intelligence, would they be sitting down with like a member of the journalistic press, just freely discussing about thumb drives and stuff? Like, I mean, I don't know how that works, but
question: does Eve now work at Bitter Pill? Because she's got a desk.
That was so weird, right? I was kind of like sitting there. So when they have the encounter with Villanelle, when she has the encounter, she just stumbles into the Bitter Pill office and kind of just says, "Nobody talk to me about it," and sits down. It's like, does she work there now? Was that established?
Yeah.
Did I doze off for like a minute or something, and that was kind of seen?
There was a scene earlier in the episode where she's there at Bitter Pill, and I think they're discussing. It was the scene where they work out on the Rubik's Cube. Kenny's kind of, that was before the Villanelle fight, so they did establish, but they didn't. It was just there. She was just sat in the office like she already had a job. So, and that's she's not. There was no scenes of her at the restaurant, so I'm just assuming she now works for Bitter Pill.
Quit as like the kind of the Chinese shit. Like what? Yeah, was that kind of established and I've just missed it, or we just kind of skimming over these things? Like,
I think again it's just that time jump where they're just we're expected to answer these kind of
we fill in the blanks kind of thing.
Fill in the blanks, yeah.
So I mean, obviously you kind of mentioned there the kind of the palpable animosity between Caroline and the Bitter Pill boss. But I the more I see of Carolyn just swanning around like a boss, when she's in the kind of bath, and we even get to see her body pop a little bit in this one, which was just gave me a smirk from ear to ear. Fiona Shaw is just like slipping into this character so well, and I hope there was a twinge of a moment for me when Villanelle shoots through the car, and there's that sort of bullet-shaped hole.
This is the first time Carolyn has shown weakness, like genuine weakness.
Oh, when she comes back and Geraldine, her daughter, gives her a hug.
But also just the scene in the car.
Where she's visibly shaken because she nearly got killed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but she's nearly been killed in previous series, if I'm right.
That's true.
You'd assume she's lived that life. She's kind of MI6, so you'd assume it's not the first attempt on her life. Has there been Has there been an attempt on her life in the previous Killing Eve series? I don't remember. I don't think so.
Towards the end of series 2, because there was that whole thing were they in Rome? Yeah, when I'm not sure actually. I don't think so. I don't think she's been as physically put on the pedestal of, like, basically having a gun barrel pointed at her than she was today.
Yeah, maybe I am being harsh. She did just kind of like have a gun shot and graze her face. So yeah, maybe I'm being a bit harsh.
So the kind of, as I said, like one of the down, points for me was the whole kind of exposition about getting towards, the location of the accountant. I did like Carolyn's little espionage bit where she kind of goes on this fake date and then kind of conveniently bumps into a former friend that she hasn't seen for 20 years who works at the Geneva bank.
Yeah.
But there was the thing that really got me was the like, we're expected to remember like a really small one-off character called Panda to a startling degree, like with the Rubik's Cube. Like, I don't know if you found it, but when Eve finds out Panda, I was like, who's this guy again? I don't know this person at all. So it kind of makes the world feel more real, I guess, to bring back old characters. But when they're like people that were just, one-offs that we don't even remember, you kind of then you're sort of, it sucks you out of the actual.
No, but wasn't Panda the MI6 mole, the rat?
Panda was the even now I'm sort of struggling.
Remember the character, and because she explained, wasn't it the guy who they worked for, who had his dick cut off in the But so like, he was quite he was definitely in the first
few episodes, but he wasn't particularly memorable. It's just basically asking you to kind of step out of what's been going on so far, the stylish and fun mood, and kind of has this confusing mess of like remembering kind of past characters that we didn't really kind of take interest in. So that was one of the main bugbears for me in that respect. And then no, I think that was it mainly. It was just, once again, it dragged a little bit in that kind of part. I know, like, there was a mention of Nico as well. Like, he's probably gone back to Poland. We don't know. Maybe he's just avoiding Eve. I think he'll come back. I've seen a kind of trailer for like the next episode. I think he does make a pop. He pops up again. But yeah, what was the kind of bugbears that you had?
I just thought it started quite slowly. Like you said, they went a long-winded way of getting an address for someone. But again, I suppose that was kind of, again, delving into Carolyn's character more. She's becoming a lot more prominent, isn't she, in this series, the Carolyn character? It's almost like she'd what you'd call almost like the third character in the Oh yeah. I mean, she's been in promotions, like, it's usually, if it's not Villanelle and Eve, then it's Villanelle, Eve, Constantine, and Carolyn sort of thing. So question for you, Brendan. Yes.
So with Villanelle, towards the end of this, she, once again, another hilarious scene where she nearly gives Constantine a heart attack by, sneaking into his bed and just like making boo at him. She mentions that she wants to find her family. Now, this was something that kind of came up towards the very end of series 2, where Constantine did sort of mention to her that she did have family members still alive. Some of them, I think he kind of said. Do you think she's going through a bit of a kind of midlife crisis? Do you think she's wanting to, in a kind of weird way, settle down and kind of find her family for reasons of that kind of nature, or?
Yeah, possibly. And also the fact that Eve is now alive, and she obviously has an obsession with Eve. So yeah, I think that might have been what's possibly kind of, opened up that line of thought with her. I think 100% the opening scene of the next episode, prediction time, right, is going to be Villanelle as a kid.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, because
they're definitely going to do a backstory.
Yeah, 100%. Do you think they'll have a spin-off? Like, I'll be honest with you.
They're going to have a spin-off. I don't think they're going to have a spin-off. I think the next episode, this is just a prediction, but I think
it'll be a flashback.
I think there's definitely going to be flashbacks in the next episode.
Young Villanelle.
Yeah.
Training. Yeah, I wouldn't.
Not necessarily training, because we've already kind of, not necessarily in training, but I think more her as a baby, the story of her as a baby, where she comes from, who her family are. I think we're going to delve into that. I think we're going to go a few different ways. Like, I don't think we're ever finding out who the 12 are. But I think that's maybe where this season is going to go, where it's kind of the story of Villanelle finding out where she's from and
Her origin storyline.
Yeah. So,
No,
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Does Eve love Villanelle?
Well, I think the kiss was merely just a diversion tactic to give her the kind of option to headbutt her.
Yeah.
But then there is at the very end where the bear, one of the creepiest uses of the teddy bear's picnic being like Villanelle in the shop, also recording that, and also at the very end. I get the impression that she's holding the love heart shaped recording device to her ear because she's going to use that as some kind of form of, I don't know, espionage type way. Like she has her voice on a recording device now. Do you know what I mean? It's left to kind of make you think that she's holding it to her head and she's like, actually, yeah, I do miss you and stuff. But I think, once again, I'm going to go with the fact that she basically rejected Villanelle in the second season. At the end of the second season, the whole second season was meant to be set up to be like, is Eve like Villanelle? Is she attracted to the danger? Does she actually love her? And that's been established. If they go against it now, because they seem to be teasing us with this, is she still in love? Is she not still in love?
I don't think it has been established. I don't think,
do you not think?
Season 2 ended pretty abruptly.
Yeah, because she basically rejected Villanelle. And as we know, Villanelle is basically like a sociopathic child and doesn't take rejection very well.
But she rejected Villanelle at that moment. Do you know what I mean? It was...
Maybe she has that maybe they're kind of alluding to the fact that Nico's now left and, you know, I don't know. I'm going to be interested to see how it plays out. But the question I was going to ask you, because I was actually thinking this when Carolyn was doing her old espionage tactics and meeting up with an old friend, would you want to see a kind of spin-off show with a young Caroline Martins and back in the Cold War boyfriend sort of days?
No, I don't want any. No, I'd just make this current show as good as you possibly can.
And then that's it. Yeah.
Don't worry about spin-offs or anything like that. I mean, of course, the stories would be interesting about it. But I think Carolyn's got more involvement than we think. I think the whole concept of the 12.
I think she's a double agent.
I don't think she's a double agent, but I think what this series has always touched upon is nobody's a good guy. I think that's quite clear. You may work for MI6, but you're not the good guys. But you may work for the 12, but you're not the good guys. You may be involved with the KGB, but you're not the good guys. I think they've made it very clear. Well, that my opinion on this show anyway is they highlight all these type agencies in a really bad light. That they're not good guys. There is no good guy. They're all just as bad as each other.
Well, you've just highlighted something now. This is a theory I'm just kind of popping out of my head now. At the very end, when she takes the shot at the accountant, she knows who Caroline is. And knowing that what we know about Villanelle so far, why didn't she take out her at the same time?
Because she's a professional.
Is she, though? Like, I mean, she is a professional, but she also acts on impulse quite a lot.
But
she killed the nanny at the very beginning, and she didn't have to kill the nanny.
Well, she did have to kill the nanny because it was a witness.
Exactly. That's what I mean. She's Mo and Carolyn are witnesses, and she knows that she's.
Yeah, but she's known. The bottom line is she doesn't have to hide from them. She doesn't.
But take it this way, Brendan. Imagine you're an assassin, and your target. You see a person who's been actively trying to stop you doing your job in the past. Are you not going to use that opportunity to take them out as well?
Yeah, but that you're back on my point of there are no good guys. They're all the same. She's doing a job. She's there to kill the accountant. She's not there to kill Carolyn, and she's not there to kill Mo. When she has to kill Carolyn and Mo, it's not like because they're MI6, they're the baddies. That's always kind of been the case with her. She's an assassin.
But do you not think in the last episode where she killed the trainee Felix, just basically out of whoopsie daisy?
I don't think it was whoopsie daisy, but again, it was more covering of the track, so to speak. That's
Yeah, but she's trying to go up the ranks with the 12, isn't she? She wants to be in that kind of middle management area. What better way to kind of show that to her employer by saying, you know what, I've just taken out an MI6 person as well, two MI6.
I'm not sure I fully buy into that as a motivation of the character, if I'm honest. I don't think Villanelle's end goal is to be the head of the 12.
No, I'm not saying that at all, but I'm just saying that, you know, for the 12, it'd be like a little pinch of salt for them to kind of just have, you know, two MI6 operatives killed off in the process. And that wouldn't it make it look more neater in that respect as well, that all three of them get killed rather than just one individual target?
No, but that's hence back to my kind of prediction about the 12 is the 12 aren't necessarily a Russian agency. They aren't necessarily Russian I think the 12 is you know, the concept of Illuminati almost.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised to see, you know, Carolyn was maybe once a member of the 12, or, you know, I think they are going to go into backstories of Villanelle. I think the 12 will be part of that backstory. And I think the 12 is that's the concept, I think, anyway. It's this international thing, you know, the 12 will have people of power. You know, they already had an MI6 informant working for the 12, didn't they? You know, so I think there's a lot more there. I don't think it is just kind of like Villanelle, you know, because they're enemies of the 12. The 12 are, you know, Illuminati type. That's my theory.
Okay, so Brendan, I want to smell.
So Carolyn can be of more help than at a later stage. So
Maybe.
keep her alive.
But I want to smell like a Roman centurion who's coming across an old foe, who in battle once hurt him greatly, who since then the Roman centurion has become emperor and is now powerful beyond measure. That's what I want, Brendan.
Cool.
And I think we'll wrap it up there. So, tune in to us Inside Your Screen. We're on Twitter at Inside Your Screen. That's Inside UR Screen, because we're reals. And catch up with us next week, where we'll be checking out episode 4. What are your predictions, Brendan? Do you have any kind of predictions for the next episode?
Yeah, I think we're going to go straight into a backstory of Villanelle as a child. We might see some of the history of where the 12 come from, and I don't be surprised if a kind of regular character or you know, someone unexpected has links to the 12. And yeah, someone's just plainly based on the fact that you said you've already seen some of the trailer, I'm going to predict we see Nico in the next episode as well.
Maybe Nico's one of the 12. God damn it, Nico. Keeping an eye on Eve all this time. Ooh.
Keep your friends close.
But your Roman centurions closer. Anyway, guys, yes, join us next time. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Inside your screen.